Altcoin season has just started. But here's the thing, it's not what most people think it is. Right now, everyone's eyes are glued to Bitcoin. Headlines scream about all-time highs, institutions are stacking sats, and retail investors are finally waking up again. But the truth is, the real money? It's already flooding somewhere else. And unless you pay attention right now, you could miss what might become the most explosive moment in this entire cycle. Because here's what nobody tells you. While Bitcoin looks strong, Ethereum is only 1% away from its own all-time high, Solana is breaking out, and altcoins across the board are beginning to surge. And yet, people still talk as if we're deep in a bear market. That disconnect between perception and reality? That's one of the most bullish signals you'll ever see. But why is this happening now? Why not last year, or next year? Well, something has shifted. And if you stick with me for the next few minutes, you'll see why this shift isn't just big. It's historic. Let's start with the trigger. The Fed has finally cut rates. Liquidity is pouring back into the system, not just in crypto, but in stocks, gold, and every corner of the market. And here's the kicker, the probability of more cuts in October and November is sky high. That means even more fuel for risk assets. Now ask yourself this, if liquidity is coming back, where do you think it flows first? Sure, Bitcoin gets a piece. Ethereum too. But the outsized gains? They've always been in altcoins. And this time, with new catalysts, the setup is unlike anything we've ever seen. Because just as liquidity returns, the SEC quietly dropped a bombshell. They approved generic ETF listing standards. And that might sound boring at first, but it's not. It's the key that unlocks everything. No more case-by-case approvals. No more endless waiting. This single change opens the floodgates for altcoin ETFs across the board. And sure enough, the first ones are already here. XRP and Dogecoin spot ETFs are live. Solana is next. Think about that for a second. A year ago, people laughed at the idea of XRP or Dogecoin ever being taken seriously by Wall Street. And now? They're ETF approved and trading. If that doesn't scream shift, I don't know what does. But here's the real twist. Spot ETFs are only the beginning. Because the next wave is staking ETFs. Imagine Ethereum and Solana ETFs that don't just track the price, but also generate yield. Right now, $7 trillion are sitting in money market funds, earning maybe 4%. As rates fall, that yield shrinks. Investors will start looking elsewhere. And where will they look? At Ethereum staking ETFs. At Solana staking ETFs. Assets that not only appreciate but pay yield on top. Can you imagine what happens when even a fraction of those trillions rotate into crypto? And this is where it gets even more interesting. While Wall Street is preparing to dive in, mainstream adoption is already happening. PayPal has gone multi-chain, not just dabbling in Bitcoin but actively integrating with altcoins like Aptos and Avalanche. Public companies are adding Solana and Ethereum to their treasuries. And yet, the crowd still doubts. The crowd still thinks this is temporary. But if you've been in crypto long enough, you know exactly what that means. That disbelief? It's fuel. Now here's the part almost nobody is talking about. Regulation. The Clarity Act. This bill could be the final catalyst that pushes crypto over the edge. For the first time, it clearly defines when a token is a commodity, when it's a security, and how the entire industry is supposed to function in the US. Think about how big that is. Institutions have been waiting for this. The biggest players in the world have been sitting on the sidelines, not because they don't want to be in, but because they couldn't. They needed clarity. And now? That clarity is almost here. And let me remind you, history doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme. In every past cycle, altcoins started slow, lagged behind Bitcoin, and then they exploded. But this time, the setup is different. We have ETFs. We have rate cuts. We have global adoption. We have regulatory clarity on the horizon. And we have on-chain metrics screaming bullish. Bitcoin inflows to accumulation addresses are hitting record highs. A liquid supply is at an all-time high. And the monthly MACD trend line? It's setting up exactly like 2017 and 2021, right before the biggest moves of those cycles. So here's the open question, does this bull market top in just a few months, like everyone expects? Or does it stretch all the way into mid-2026, fueled by trillions of dollars, brand new financial products, and a regulatory green light? That's what we're about to find out. And let's talk numbers. If Bitcoin runs to $150,000, and yes, I believe that's absolutely on the table, Ethereum could outperform it. Solana could shock everyone and 10x from here. And if altcoin season is really just beginning, then the wealth transfer we'll see in the next year could dwarf anything from the past. Which brings me back to you. You're watching this video right now because you don't want to be the person who realizes all too late that altcoin season came and went without you. You want to be ahead of it. And that's exactly why you need to stay plugged in, because every single day matters from here on out. Altcoin season has just started. And it's way bigger than you think. Smash that like button if you're ready for what's coming, subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's update, and tell me in the comments, do you believe altcoin season is already here, or do you think the real fireworks haven't even started yet?